This episode of Happy Jack's RPG Podcast is sponsored by Palladium Books at palladiumbooks.com.
I'm in Max. You are listening to Happy Jack's RPG Podcast. I'm in Max. Pursuing the RPG hobby with reckless abandon.
Why, hello, and welcome to Season 20, Episode 12
Episode 12.
of Happy Jack's RPG Podcast.
Woo.
My name is Stu.
My name is Gina.
I'm Joey.
I'm Stork.
And I'm back from last week.
Yay.
Getting ready for a party.
You were here.
I was here, but I was...
It was a heck of a party, too, I gotta say.
You had homework.
I was kind of sad I couldn't come. My other party was kind of lame. The entire time I kind of wish I was here.
I'm sorry.
That's
I know.
as the Dionysus.
There were less
intended.
people dressed up this year than there have been in the past.
That's
I
a
have to
shame.
say.
Yeah.
It wasn't quite as
yeah.
good as it's been. Yeah. Yeah. Eventually it's going to stop.
Stu had an awesome costume. Stark had an awesome costume.
Nobody knew who I was.
No.
No.
I did.
Nobody did.
Independence
That's because I told
Well,
a couple of people.
once you told me, I knew who you were.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, that guy.
Nobody
That's sufficiently obscure.
Yeah.
Stork obscure? No.
I was in costume.
And of course that night my daughter had a sleepover, so I had 6 12-year-olds here. They finally went silent around 3:30, maybe 3:45. And when I got up in the morning, I only got about 5 hours of sleep. They were gone. They went to the park. And they took the dogs for a walk, and then they went to Starbucks and came back.
They left you a note, though, right?
They left me a note.
That's
Yes,
good.
they left me a note. Well, I have my daughter's cell phone on Find Your Friends.
Yep,
So
as
that
it
was
should
no
be.
To be fair, the park is like a block away, so.
yeah, no, it's all closed. But that was exciting. 12-year-olds are weird.
Yeah. I know.
Not going to argue with that.
They're not quite teenagers,
Yeah.
but they're not little kids. Go ahead.
Falling.
I muted you.
No, it's totally by turns. They're playing with dolls, and then they're talking about boys, and it's the strangest mix. They're straddling both worlds. They have one foot in each one, and they're not yet either one. It's
I don't know.
Well, that pretty much explains all the sleepovers I went to.
Yeah.
But it's all out.
what?
Huh?
Cool. I'm just trying to put it back in. That's good enough. Cool.
You got it?
I think so. It's
I still have you muted. Are you
cool.
set
I
up?
should be okay. Yeah. It's just it was falling out of the.
Well, I'm going to
little
mute you
folder.
again because you're handling
You
it.
should. Yeah.
Go ahead.
I should be good.
Your mic's clipped on?
Yep.
Oh, it is.
Oh.
No.
Did it fall off?
It fell off.
Aww.
Okay, enough of that.
Okay.
What do we got going on today? Well, Gina,
In
get
this
yourself
episode
ready.
of Happy Jack's RPG Podcast, Chris from Ontario, Canada, writes in about new editions. Scott relays a player nightmare, and Nicholas from Stockholm sends us a story about dying 3 times. 3 times. But first, if you'd like to email us, you can email us at happyjacksrpg@gmail.com. That's happyjacksrpg@gmail.com. By the way, we're getting a little low on emails, so now's a good time to, if you want to write and ask a question or something like that, now's the time to do it.
Holiday season's coming up. You know you're going to be gaming. You know this is when you've been putting it all off. So save those stories and send them to us.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially the bad ones. We love those. Social media, Happy Jacks RPG on tweeters and on Instagram. Everything's Happy Jacks RPG. You can also watch us live. We stream the show at 8 p.m. Pacific time on Friday.
It is Friday.
Friday.
Happy
How
Jacks
dare
is
you?
Happy Jacks is always best served live.
Right. You can watch us live. happyjacks.org/live will get you there.
Cool.
And we have a sponsor for this episode, Palladium Books. You can find them at palladiumbooks.com. They are the publisher of the Palladium Fantasy RPG, Heroes Unlimited, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Robotech, Rifts, Dead Rain, of course, and Splicers, and much more. And the best part is their games use the same system. So you want zombies in your Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle game? No problem. You can have zombies. No, have a whole zombie apocalypse if you want. Or Glitter Boys.
Or
Because-
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle Apocalypse.
Zombies.
Zombies.
Glitter zombies.
Glitter turtles.
Glitter
I want to be
zombies.
glitter turtle.
Or glitter turtles.
Oh, yeah.
right?
Oh, yeah.
They already have
wanna
the
be a
armor,
glitter
right?
turtle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They just need the boom gun.
That'd
I
be
went
awesome.
on Drive Through RPG and I counted over 400 titles that they have.
I remember Palladium Books back when I was a kid.
Wow.
They've been around. They're a survivor.
They're a game-producing machine.
Yep.
They also publish the Rifter, which is their Rifts magazine. And I thought about this. You know, people producing magazines to support their games anymore.
No.
Not really, no.
I mean, there used to be a lot. There used to be quite a few. And when I was playing certain games,
Yeah.
I'd subscribe to the magazine, and usually they came quarterly.
Joey, a magazine is a papery thing of articles that you actually hold in your hand. You're not just going through on the...
It's an analog version of a PDF.
Yes.
Got it. I'm with you.
Just so you know.
Thank you.
Well, they still do. They still produce, and they still support their games. And it's awesome. And thank them for supporting the show. And if you want to support the show, support our sponsors. And you can find them at palladiumbooks.com. There will be a link in the show notes, and we thank them very much.
Yay.
And we're going on to...
I'm having a lot of fun in Dead Rain, that's for sure.
Yeah, it is a fun game. It's a very fun game. You guys have any idea what's going on? Kind
Maybe a little bit more now.
of. Okay.
After the zombie that watched us and then tailed us and
It's kind of scary, huh?
oh my god, yeah.
Yeah, but I watched part of it, and you were freaking out. You were like, "Did anybody else see that?" And they're like, "What?"
Yeah.
You're like, "No, it was on the hill, and he was watching us."
Well, and that was after they were like, "Why didn't you tell us?" And it was like, "Well, maybe because you were all yelling at me for like 15 minutes." So I was waiting till it was an appropriate time to
Let you know.
shift gears.
By the by.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you know. Nothing. Never
What?
mind.
No, what?
He was imitating you,
You.
saying,
Like,
"Oh, by the
by
by, there's a zombie on the hill."
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it was.
Thank you.
Because that's kind of what happened.
See that? Did you hear that?
I was like,
Yeah,
oh,
right there.
yeah.
We're right there.
Yeah.
Guys. Yeah. It was awesome though. It's scary.
All right.
Cool.
The purpose of new additions and easy GM burden, L5R beta, Chris in Ontario, the Canadian one, as opposed to the California.
Because there's
Right.
one Chris.
You know what
in-
though? Hold on to that thought,
in
because that'll come in
Canada.
handy later on in this email.
Okay, all right. Insert witty Happy Jack's random generator here. Oh, we need one.
Yeah, I don't know why there isn't
Yeah,
one.
we do.
I can brush up on my or is it PHP that I used to write that thing?
Yeah.
I wrote a Japanese name generator, and I think I did it in PHP. But I could probably tweak it and make a Happy Jacks one.
A friend of the band once
Ooh,
made
that would be
a
awesome.
random banner generator thing.
Yeah, and he had our signs,
Yeah.
and you could put
Yeah.
your own text
Yeah.
in the signs.
That was pretty awesome.
Stop
It was
it.
awesome. It was awesome. It was awesome. I don't think it still
It's
exists.
lost
anymore.
in the
That's
etherwebs.
funny.
Yeah, I think he actually emailed me a couple of years ago and said, "Is anyone using that thing? Because I'm going to take it down because it's got like spam bots are hitting it constantly."
Yeah.
Like, no, I don't think anyone even remembers that it exists. I wonder if you can get that. I wonder if you could give me the code for that so we can put it back up.
You could probably do it yourself now. They probably got better code
I couldn't
now,
do that. I
Instead
couldn't
of
do
just
that.
doing that.
I couldn't do that.
He's a man
I could-
of many talents, that guy.
Yeah, he is. He is.
Hate
Old
it.
Charlie.
Hate that guy.
Hi there, Happy Jacks. First time Imlimer.
Okay, hold on. There we go.
Yep.
I've only had one
To the
beer,
opener.
but I've
What's a girl
listened.
like you doing in a place like this? It's a good opener. Works every time.
Works on me.
But I've listened.
Now we know. Note.
He just goes to a lot of cheap bars.
No Joey shaming.
No.
No shaming the Joey.
Not a whore. I don't get paid.
You're just an enthusiast.
And how?
Yeah.
All right.
It's almost like I've had to say that before.
First time emailer, but I've listened at my 12-hour shifts for over a year now. It's a great way to pass the time.
Holy crap.
While I've been tempted to email before, most of my thoughts usually get covered before I get to email. So this time I'm emailing in a more recent episode, Happy Jack's RPG Podcast 2008. Flashbacks, mouse guard, rule splicing.
Well, that's like really recent.
Yes.
Yeah.
In this episode, that's 4 episodes ago.
Yeah.
In this episode, you brought up the L5R beta, and it got me thinking more about the purpose of new editions. I think the idea of it's not broken, don't fix it shouldn't really apply to new editions. For myself, especially in modern days where PDFs and print on demand means that old editions never really stop being published, I think the purpose of a new edition is to explore the setting, game concepts, etc., add a new angle. For L5R, for example, the narrative dice mechanic may approach the way the game unfolds from a different angle that could attract new players and or make for a different style of unfolding gameplay, while those who are fine with the older methods still have access to those books. The narrative dice used in L5R and other FFG games is something else I wanted to mention. You guys talked about it, how it became a burden for the GM. I don't think it is the GM's burden to come up with what the dice mean. The final arbiter certainly is the GM, but I view the dice, PBTA style, mixed successes, etc., to be the whole table activity to decide what happens. It makes other players more involved when it is not their turn, can help gauge what the players want out of success and failure. For myself personally, as a GM, it helps keep me surprised and engaged as if I was a player myself. So yeah, sorry for the long email. Have a drink. This is not a long email.
That is not long.
Not a long email.
No, not at all.
That's like,
There's more on the page.
That was a
screen,
very.
Chris from Ontario,
tiny
Canada.
Oh yeah, there is a PS.
yeah.
P.S. I was going to be
can't try to
running
drink.
an upcoming Vampire the Requiem 2nd Edition game set in Los Angeles, so I was wondering, as locals, what suggestions, ideas for a game set there. Also, one big thing, LA is huge, so I'm planning on having subdomains ruled by barons. Oh, you're making it Sabbat. Is that Baron Sabbat? No. No, I'm thinking
No.
of bishops.
I don't remember.
I'm thinking of bishops.
We didn't have
It's
a baron
another,
in our.
it's another B word.
Yeah.
But I don't want to have one for every neighborhood in
Interesting.
LA. So if you were to divide LA into, say, 5 to 10 regions, what would you do? Let's talk about that one first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Ontario.
Ontario.
That's
That's not
right.
LA.
That's
That's
right,
San
so hold on.
Bernardino.
See,
Come
and
on
I'm,
now.
And I'm all about either something like downtown or Malibu. Like
I-
completely, or the valley.
The thing about the LA area, and when I've been to the Midwest and stuff like that, okay, there's a city, and then there's a big long stretch of nothing, and then there's another city,
Yeah.
and a big long stretch of nothing, and then there's another city. LA is not like that.
Not anymore.
No.
It used to be
It
like
used
that
to be,
about 100
but
years
today,
ago.
you can drive from the seacoast practically to Big Bear, which is what, probably 90 miles, maybe.
Probably about that.
You are never going to leave an urban or suburban area the entire time.
All the cities have combined into
They've
one.
spread, and they've filled up all of the area. It's called urban sprawl, and we have it in spades in Los Angeles.
Mostly
Yeah.
because you can't build up here very high.
Right.
No.
So because things fall
Thanks,
down. every 100
earthquakes.
years. Yes.
Yeah, you get a little
So
shimmy
everything
here,
builds
and they fall like dominoes. Maybe. We don't know. Supposedly, they built the code. But
That's true.
That's comforting.
You find out the ones that aren't pretty quick.
yeah, you'll find out who bribed the building inspector. All it takes is a
We
good
have to
8.0.
laugh. I know. You guys are like, what? And then we have to.
Yeah.
We choose to live here. It's all we can do.
Every place has their fucked up thing.
Yeah.
You've got hurricanes, you've got tornadoes, you've got snow, you've got blistering heat. We have earthquakes and fires and riots.
And fires. Yeah.
Where would you do it if you carved up?
Well, if I was going to carve it up, I think I would kind of carve it up. Well, the way I did it in the game was the Glittering Night was Los Angeles and Orange County, which is huge. That's a real big area.
Yeah, that is
It's huge.
But it does not include what we call the Inland Empire, which is Riverside County and
Yeah.
San Bernardino County.
Yeah.
And that was kind of where the dividing line was. The southern line was like South Orange County between the Camarillo and the Sabbat. But I think if I was going to divide it, I would probably do it. Long Beach would be its own domain. Long Beach is big.
And the harbor,
Yeah.
like Wilmington, Pedro.
Maybe that whole area might be one.
Yeah.
Because Long Beach is almost Orange County. Like it's right
It's,
on
well,
the
it's
cusp.
the border
It
of
is,
Orange
but there's
County,
a
yeah.
lot of Orange County, and it's
Oh,
gotten
yeah.
way built up.
Trust.
It's a fuzzy line. You know,
Decade.
they
No.
fight back and forth. That border
It's
keeps
not.
shifting depending on the
No,
various
there is
wars
definitely
and
the
riots.
orange curtain.
Yeah, I'm like, don't besmirch the town I live in by pretending it's in the OC. Because it.
But I mean, I think like Orange County, I would divide that into a couple different areas
Yeah.
probably.
Yeah.
Because you have like the sort of northern border part of it, and I think I would make that sort of its own.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have sort of like the southern Irvine down farther where the houses get bigger.
Like Irvine,
and nicer.
Viejo, San Clemente, that whole area.
And make that
Yeah.
kind of its own domain because they're kind of different. And
Yep.
I mean, there's flavors of the area.
Oh, they're vastly different.
too.
Everything in North Orange County is very urban, where everything
Yeah.
South Orange County is very Real Housewives of Orange
I
County.
was just gonna
Right.
say that.
Right.
That's exactly it.
If you guys really
yeah.
kind of want a bit of a clue about what we're talking about, call up sort of LA area and type in LA counties, and it'll show you where the county borderlines stop, and you'll see there's like 40 or 50 different sort of major counties, and then little
Yeah.
subdivisions in between there. But we talk about Orange County, we talk about San Bernardino County, we talk about Riverside County. These are kind of like the lines between LA County and LA County proper is still
It's huge.
Even if you look in LA though, like to your point, you've got that whole harbor South Bay deal, but you've got the valley
You could
and
almost
the west side
you could almost look online and divide
Yeah.
it
by freeway.
By street. Like if you're looking at LA major.
Well, no, I'm thinking you could go online and see what like the city council districts are, because that'll give you an idea there.
there's a lot.
There, 9 or 10. I
Yeah,
think.
yeah, that's true. Yeah,
There's not that many.
just in LA.
Yeah, but I mean, I would the San Fernando Valley. I would make that its own domain
Oh yeah, for sure.
because porn. That's
Oh, yeah.
the porn
Yeah,
capital of the world.
exactly.
The San Gabriel Valley area, which would
own.
include like Glendale, Pasadena, Sierra Madre, all the cities sort of along the foothill. They call it the foothills area. That could kind of be its own. And then LA proper might be its own, and then you have all those mid cities.
Right.
Because south and east of Los Angeles, you've got Maywood and Vernon and Cudahy and.
See,
I'm leaving a bunch out. And that's a totally different feel of an area.
And then there's
it's
all the-
way more industrial.
and there's all the woods, you know. There's,
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and
Brentwood and Bel Air
you
and
could
Hollywood.
totally take East Side or West Side could totally be its own domain too.
Well, that's what I was thinking. My thought was to just sort of subdivide it basically into 5. So you've got Hollywood would be its own thing. You've got.
Would you include North Hollywood?
Yeah, I would.
Okay.
And would you include West
In the-
Hollywood?
in the
would.
valley?
I would include that. I would. The San Gabriel Valley would be its own thing.
Yeah,
I was
for
thinking
sure.
East LA or East LA. It's its own. It's
But
its
East
own
LA,
thing.
I think
I
East
know.
LA
East LA
was
is very
downtown.
dense. There's a lot of people there.
Yeah.
So there's
I
a lot
know.
of food.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's not a lot of square mileage. You know what I mean?
Right, but
Doesn't
if you're,
matter, there's still a lot of
if you're
vampires,
a
that's
baron, yeah, if you're trying to
Yeah.
rule over a certain amount of people,
Yeah, that's true.
you're going to look at population, not necessarily land space.
I would
That's true.
include that stuff in with downtown, and then maybe some of the
Well, downtown I would make its
But
own thing.
downtown is a ghost town at night.
Well, vampires.
yeah, and
There's no everyone leaves. Everyone
Sadly,
works there,
there's
but no one
still
lives.
But,
there's
like-
still tent city stuff down there.
That's
and
true.
as much
Yeah,
as they
that's
try
true.
to.
That's true.
And there is
Yeah.
a bit of a nightlife. It is a big. All the zombies do come
Yeah.
out, and all
No,
the
and
weirdos do come
yeah,
out.
and
And then
there's-
with Silver Lake and Echo Park, they're all like going into
Yeah.
LA now to party.
Yeah,
Right.
and there's all sporty stuff down there.
And then I'm thinking
LA
like along
Live
the
and-
coast, you know, that whole West Side thing going on. Sort of.
Yeah.
Malibu and all that.
That's a whole. So I mean, you kind of because Hollywood, West Side, East Side. There is no North LA. We talk about South LA. We talk about East LA. We talk about West LA. We talk about Hollywood. But there is no North LA.
well-
At that point, you're like in Thousand Oaks. And you
No.
just want to get out of LA.
Yep.
But isn't Lancaster
Totally.
and Palmdale still part of LA
Yes.
County?
Yeah.
Well, in theory, yeah,
Well,
but it's
I-
not. I wouldn't call it LA. It's
No,
north
no.
above LA. It's
Right. It's still in the, within
it's the suburb above LA.
It's still LA County. I know this.
And there's an
because
entire mountain range between them and the rest of us.
You
Right.
think, you
And
think
it's
you're
hard to
not.
get there.
Yeah, you think, oh, I'm in San Bernardino. No, you're still in LA County. It
No,
Those are-
goes
San
over
Bernardino's
But I
San
feel like
Bernardino
that's,
County.
for me, that's
a
more
different-
when I go
that's a different
south and
county.
east. Like when I'm like in Ontario or Fontana, I'm like, oh, am I in, like it's right on that cusp of like San Bernardino and LA County and like Pomona. Why is Pomona LA when it's so far from LA?
Yep.
I'm always amazed whenever I have to go to a location and it's still LA County, so they don't pay me. Because if I go a little bit further and I'm in another county, I
Right.
get a little extra like $20 or something in my paycheck.
See, then you have like the
I'm like-
south part of the county, past Long Beach. I don't know where the border is between LA and Orange because you've got Sunset Beach and Seal Beach. Are those LA or Orange? I don't know offhand.
I'm
Which
not
ones?
sure.
No,
Sunset and Seal.
I think Seal is orange.
there. Oh, is it?
I
'Cause
think.
Long
Don't quote
Beach
me
is
on that. but
Definitely LA.
definitely LA, but technically so is like La Mirada, which is right next to Bueno Park, which is orange. Like it's
Yeah,
right.
La Mirada's right on the border. That's
Right.
where I used to have a house there.
Is
So-
Irvine orange?
Yes,
Huh?
Irvine is orange.
Tom's
Yes.
is
Oh, yeah.
saying the same thing about downtown is actually happening because there's
Oh, really?
all sorts of
Okay.
Santa Monica Boulevard is
Because if you go to like
always.
what I guess what you'd call the financial district, the area with the really big tall towers,
Yeah.
at night, besides hobos, there's not much there.
Well, yeah, because everybody commutes in.
Yeah, it's the 5 blocks, but around there, Tommy's is still rocking. There's
Oh, okay.
Little Armenia's going off, Chinatown's going off.
You get everything
The
on
train
Santa Monica
station's
Boulevard.
Huge.
They're off the hook.
Is that
Yeah.
Hill People Savage Stalker OTHP? Because that's pretty funny. Take me down
Yes.
to the LA tent city.
Where the grass,
Grass
is brown,
is brown.
and the hobos are pretty.
Don't be ridiculous. There's no grass.
So this was fascinating to us. 'cause we get to
Well,
talk
it's
about
not
local-
growing grass.
Yeah.
We get to talk about local geography, but for the rest of you guys, you're all
It's
looking
more
at
like
maps
the
now going, really?
Grass is concrete.
But yeah, I mean,
Grass is rolled.
You could look at actually at county. I think there's 5 county supervisors, and each has an area. You might look at that.
Oh,
That
that's a
might
good idea.
divide well too.
Yeah.
I think it's 5. I think there's 5
Five.
county supervisors.
That also just that's a really good way to do it because it's
And that makes sense for vampires
It
because
would.
the vampires are
Yeah.
going to say, I only have 1 county supervisor I need to ghoul. As opposed to if our borders are
Yeah.
shifted a little,
Yeah.
Yep.
okay, now I've got to ghoul this guy and I got to ghoul this one over here. Oh, but so-and-so's already ghouled that one. I don't want to poach, so...
Yeah.
and it also works for the whole sliding border between Orange County and San Diego and Mexico because the Sabbat are constantly making incursions and so
Right.
that border line shifts. So it makes perfect sense. Yeah, it's working.
Makes
It's
you wonder if
fluid.
there's like any kind of Baron gerrymandering going on.
Right.
No, only the Ventru involved.
Of course.
All right. And regarding L5R beta, I've been reading it because we're going to run an
Yeah.
AP in it. The dice mechanic is not to me as problematic as the FFG Star Wars.
I totally agree.
There's strife.
Yep.
Strife. First off, you don't have to take it because you get to choose which
Yep.
dice you use.
Yeah.
So if you got successes and you can say,
Yeah.
well, I only need 1, but I got 3 successes, but
Yep.
2 of them have strife.
Yeah.
I'm just going to take the 1 and just be good with that.
Yep.
There may be situations where you're going to have to if you want to succeed. Or you may say, no, I want to really blow this guy out of the water. I'm going to roll. I'm going to take every success I got. I don't care how much strife I get because this is a climactic moment of the battle. And I guess also, and strife, when it adds up to your threshold, I can't remember what step
Yeah,
it is.
like say
Composure.
the
It's
10
like
or something.
Composure. I
Yeah.
think it's composure. When it adds up to that, or exceeds it or hits it, then you have an outburst.
It triggers
They
an
changed
outburst.
Changed that.
They've added in the beta
They changed it
modified
already, though.
the update.
Yeah,
update.
because it bummed me out a little bit. It's like I really liked the way it worked because you did. Like you were choosing to take on that strife, which was going to cause an outburst, which happens even, in that genre when you think about it, when you're pushing and you're trying to control. And
especially in social,
Right?
social conflict
Yeah.
situations where someone's
Yeah.
like, pick,
Yep,
pick.
that all of a sudden it's like boom.
And Japanese samurai are just known for their communication skills.
Yep.
Yes.
Right? But now they changed it so that you don't have to choose, if I'm remembering this correctly, based on tons of feedback from people who want to play Cardboard Hero people.
Right.
They don't want to have to do that, so you can choose when to have it.
You have to. I think
And you just
need
can't
to have
use
one. It doesn't
the
have to have.
strife dice. You can't use strife again until you've had the outburst.
That makes more sense.
But you could actually wait out your outburst and not.
I can see because you might. Anytime you compel someone to do something because
Yeah.
of the mechanic, you're kind of taking away a little bit of agency. Although
They chose though
Yeah.
you're
to
right.
push it.
They
That's what
they
I
did.
think.
They,
Yeah.
they did. Unless they roll horribly and don't get any successes and
Yeah,
then
that's-
fail. And that's possible.
That's
Right.
called the randomizer.
Not that would happen
wrong,
to
Stuart?
anyone here. But
It wouldn't happen.
But
anyway.
but the only thing they have is they call it opportunity, right?
Yeah.
And there seems to be pretty concrete guidelines on when that's used, how it's applied in certain situations, using certain skills
Mm-hmm.
or whatever. Spells, it changes the magnitude of the spell. You spend them basically as you get them. So that
I like.
I'm not as concerned about it. So
Yeah, I like it.
yeah, I think it'll be. I
I
think
think
it'll
it
be
sounds
fine.
kind of cool. And it's not as much as like we talked about on a different cast that it's not as many like 8 advantages and then you have to try to spin.
Right.
But I like it's Chris, right? Chris in
Yes.
Ontario. I like what he was saying about like it doesn't have to necessarily be all about the GM coming up with those things, and that when there's collaboration at the table from other people suggesting like,
Sure.
oh my God, this could totally happen to you, and everybody's like, you're like, yeah, that would be fantastic.
Right.
I would totally do that.
It's kind of like what you mentioned a couple of podcasts ago, and you mentioned kind of often where you kind of get ideas from other players as they're talking. Like it's kind of doing that,
yeah.
but serving to you on a silver platter. Like, yeah, let's group this and see. Okay, you've got 3 advantages. Let's see what that does. What do you think happens? And then pick the best one that's gonna fit with your narrative.
I not a big fan of the mechanic myself, but what I got out of this is something I hadn't thought about, which is having the whole table participate. Mm-hmm. So if somebody rolls, let's say, all opportunities, right, and they're like, because sometimes you're stumped. You're like, I'm gonna be much more sneaky. I'm gonna be very sneakily do this, like Power of the Apocalypse games or fake games. Even you're like, I'm gonna do this more sneakily because you can't come up with another adjective. You're on the spot or whatever. You're trying to come up with a solution. So sometimes on the player it's really hard, but having the whole table participate makes a bit more sense because now the onus isn't on one person or the GM. It's on everybody, and it brings the table together. It's the collaborative storytelling, which I hadn't thought of doing before. It seems to me that if you make the dice roll, you're responsible for that dice roll.
Well, ultimately, it's that player's decision.
Right. Sure.
Because it's their character.
Right. I agree.
Yep.
But I mean, certainly you could have you could sit and have a conversation about
I
how.
hadn't thought about that before.
In that way, too, it kind of makes your success everybody's success.
Yeah.
Like, okay, how can we take this 5 advantages and make it successful for everybody?
I think that that's a really important point because I hadn't thought of that before. I'd always thought about it being the GM and the player, and it's a one-on-one, and everybody else sits back and doesn't. In fact, there's like they don't want to say anything because somebody's player's backstory might come into play or whatever, and it might be important.
Right.
But having it open to the player table, they could say, you know what, no, I have an idea, and then your backstory can come in. It makes it so much more, takes the stress off of everybody, I think.
I think so. That happens a lot in narrative games where there's a lot of collaboration, but like Stu said, it's ultimately going to be up to the player to go, oh my God, that's amazing, or I don't know if my... And then the GM definitely has to go, that's okay.
And sometimes with the collaborative games I've been in, it gets really metagamey, where they start pulling on things that they shouldn't know about. You're like, and I'm like, you don't know about that. You don't know. And no, hold on, stop. Everybody stop.
That can
Here's
happen
what I'm
in
going to
any
do.
game.
Yeah.
Well, it can, but it seems, I don't know.
In the ones you've played, it seems to be problematic.
No, it's not problematic. It seems to be, it's like suddenly everyone now has an opinion about stuff that they want people to do, and you're bombarded with options, and you're like, okay, well, I can't do it. So it can be a bit of a, I don't know, overwhelming.
No, I think that's true. For me, it depends on who you have at the table sometimes, because there are people that want to contribute to everything, and then there are people that end up being quieter. Yeah, so it's more about the table mix.
And it also depends what you're trying to get out of the game. I mean, because I like when there's secrets, even when I'm playing. I don't want to know what other people's characters are doing. I mean, but there's other games that are built on the assumption that, all that stuff is out in the open and everyone knows about it, but your character doesn't.
Right.
I don't have to have that inner conflict. Would I really do this if I really didn't know that Gina's character was secretly an assassin?
Yeah, right.
And I've been in con games where people shout out stuff for other people to do. Hey, but your father is. It's like, how do you know about my backstory? Stop! You don't know that. And they look at you like, but you're going to ruin the game if you don't do it that way.
We're going to lose.
Right.
It's funny you mentioned that because I had the same instinct almost the entire time Mission Imbartable.
Oh, really?
I had at some point just like literally bite my tongue like, it's not my character. It's not my moment. My character had its moment. They're going to do their thing. I'm just going to sit here. But I'm sure thinking very loudly in their direction. Do this thing.
It all worked out.
Yeah, it was all good. It was
GM,
great.
can you please make Joey stop mad dogging me?
Yeah. with the mean mugging.
Okay. All right.
Cool, though.
Thank you for the email, Chris. I mean, I'm guessing he wrote this before the beta came out, and a lot of us have had a chance to read it now. So, and I mean, and opinions are shifting because people are reading.
I think so too.
Okay, it's different than I thought,
And it is
or
a
they're
beta.
going,
It's
it's different than I thought, and I hate it.
Yeah.
It's a work in progress. It is a beta. Sure. I was going through the other night and found some inconsistencies already as well. So, they're having a limited character choices when you're running it so far, so things aren't fleshed out. They'll say, anyway, I've discovered a couple of little foibles here and there.
I was asking about it at Gen Con, and obviously, if you look at it, it was well into development when Gen Con happened. Because that's only a couple months ago.
Yeah.
And it asked, so what's going to go with RPG? Oh, have you seen our card game? No one, nothing. And I talked to multiple people who asked him as well.
They
did
liked
not.
it, huh?
Nothing. They weren't saying anything. It's like, you might as well have just, no, we're not going to make one ever. That's what it seemed like. But,
Well, and now card game, but
the
L5R,
and that had just come out.
Yeah.
It was released
At Gen Con,
Gen Con, and they had stacks.
I'm kind of excited about
They
that.
had their marching orders.
Yeah. And they're you're not going to say a thing, and you
It's not
do.
pretty
Shush
yet.
it.
push the card games. We've got
Yeah.
a warehouse full of them.
Exactly.
Oh, Tom's totally noticed. Stork, I wore this for you.
Oh, really?
Do you know what it is?
The thing.
Can you see?
I'm on your way.
You
can see?
Yeah, I can see it.
I
What
just
is it?
popped
Oh, it's
it.
the thing.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. It's your purple hair was in the way and everything.
Yeah,
Your
sorry.
hair matches your shirt. That's awesome.
It is. Yeah.
I early on in one of our earliest podcasts, people asked like what movies you would base games on.
Yeah.
I said anything made by John Carpenter.
Hell yeah.
He has the best ideas. For
I need a
movies.
list. 'Cause I'm not good at
The
remembering.
Thing, They
The
Live,
Fog.
Oh, They
The
Live.
Fog,
Halloween.
Halloween.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh my
he did
God.
Halloween.
Big Trouble in Little China.
That'd be
Escape from
terrible.
New York.
The Big Lebowski. not
Escape
Tim
from
McGuire.
New York. Escape from LA.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah. And
It-
soundtracks. And the most badass
But
awesome
a
people
couple
in
of
them.
them, yeah, some of them.
Yeah.
Anyway, anything he's made would make great, especially Savage Worlds games.
There needs to be a Big Lebowski role-playing game. Not
I wonder if
specifically
there
about the
is.
dude, but there
It's that
should be.
world
I can
that
see
That world, yeah.
Yeah.
Instead of strife points, you collect slack points.
That'd be awesome.
When you get so full of slack, you pass out.
Mind if I have a dude? It's
Or
a bummer.
or
It's a bummer, man.
when you get enough slack points, people break into your place and knock you unconscious, and
You'd
you have
have
the
to
whole
have a
dream
stat
sequence
that's
with
like a-
bowling.
Yeah.
Or they pee on your rug.
Right, and so when you
abide
get enough
stat.
slack, you have to come up with a dream sequence.
Oh,
That
yes.
would replace cool.
Yeah.
Abide.
Yes.
We're all talking on top of each other, but it's still a great idea.
Oh, it's a good idea. I dig it. I'd play it.
This aggression will not stand, man.
Totally.
Somebody pointed out, I don't know if you noticed this, that in the first part of the movie, the first 10 minutes of the movie, all the lines he says came from George Bush that he's hearing on the
Yes!
speaker.
I noticed that this last
you
time I
serious?
watched it.
Yeah.
Yes!
Which will not stand. This aggression.
This aggression will not stand.
Oh my God.
No
man.
way.
Oh, yeah.
I will not abide by, and then he uses that stuff. It's like he's born
Because there's
right
a
there.
TV on when he's at the grocery store, and they and George Herbert
GW.
Walker
Yeah.
Bush is giving a speech just before the invasion of
What?
Iraq. Yeah.
That movie, I've not watched. Do they have the directors? They should totally
No, I
have
don't
a
think so.
because it's full of Easter eggs and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
like full of.
And
I would like to see like a director's commentary.
Yeah.
here's the other
They
thing.
should do a Criterion.
Here's
That'd
the
be
other thing I
cool.
only
Yeah.
realized like a year ago, and I'm embarrassed to say it, but I'm going to say it anyway. I didn't realize it, but it's basically The Big Sleep, a Raymond Chandler book.
Seriously.
So if you think about Raymond Chandler's
Yeah.
characters, they're all slackers. They're basically living paycheck to paycheck. Nobody thinks that they're worth anything. They're all disheveled. So when you update that, you get the dude. A
Right.
disheveled slacker who doesn't have a job, who's
Wow.
a detective. He's going to go find this missing person. But that's what it's even the whole spoilers toe in the thing. It's all in The Big Sleep.
I can get you a toe.
It's your toe,
That's
dude.
awesome.
Anyway,
Show in
it's-
5 minutes with nail polish.
so think about updating any one of those old detective novels into the modern time, and you get this surfer slacker. It's like, what is it you do? Well, I have some projects that. What is it? He says, I've got some work. I don't know. It's. Do you have a job, Mr. Lebowski? Puts his
Lebowski world.
What was in the briefcase? Papers, work papers. And what do you do for a living? I'm unemployed.
This is a Savage Stalker of the Hill people, I think. Says John Carpenter movies are simple premises turned up to 11, which seems
well said.
Yeah.
But
Yep.
they're so great. I mean, Big Trouble in Little China is so much
Yep.
fun, and there's a beholder in it.
Yeah.
Come on.
Oh yeah, that's true.
And the
Yep.
thing was just basically H.P. Lovecraft. Come on.
Is the Beholder from D&D an original concept by them, or was it based on?
I'm gonna nod my head like I know what I'm saying. It's a yes.
I think so. I can't
Because-
think of any reference to any kind of mythology that I know of where it's like drawing from,
Okay,
as far as I know.
that's kind of what I'm
Yeah.
thinking too.
Other weird trivia, and then
And
we'll move on.
it's bled into a lot of stuff. It was in Doom, the video
Mm-hmm.
game. There was a Beholder in that.
Other weird trivia and then we'll move on. But apparently, some of the first original monsters were based off of these bag of rubber monsters or plastic monsters that Gary Gygax or somebody had picked up, like the Rust Monster. Remember the Rust Monster? It's that
Oh, yeah.
weird sort of reptile thing with like a propeller on its tail.
Yeah.
So he had this bag of random monsters he picked up at like the 5 and Dime store, and one of them is this weird dinosaur with a propeller on its tail. And if you go look through it, there's a boulette in there. And so
Really?
many of the first D&D monsters were there because that's what he had for a miniature, and he plopped it down.
Huh.
And you can go look that up. It's online. It's actually
Oh,
pretty
here you
cool.
From Wikipedia,
Yep.
unlike many other Dungeons & Dragons monsters, the Beholder is an original creation
Really?
for D&D and is not based on a creature from mythology or other fiction.
Nailed it.
Bam!
That's
there you
pretty
go.
awesome because I would have almost guessed Greek mythology tweak.
Because it kind of almost has like a
Yeah.
Minotaur in the maze, the labyrinth kind of feel.
Medusa, like
Yeah.
there's got to
Like
be
a kind of a
many-eyed
Gorgon, Minotaur
something.
hybrid.
Yeah, that's
in
awesome.
concept at least.
Rob Kuntz's brother Theron Kuntz created the Beholder, and Gary Gygax detailed it for publication. There you go.
It's very Lovecraftian.
Oh yeah.
That's
yeah.
awesome.
Well, it is an aberration,
Yeah.
and depending on which
Yeah.
edition you're looking at.
Interesting.
So who's next?
All right,
Where
thank
are
you
we?
very much, Chris,
Yeah.
from Ontario, the Canadian one. A Player Nightmare from Scott. Who would like to read Scott's Player Nightmare?
Oh, let's give it to Joey. He's theatrical.
Oh.
It's a nightmare.
Oh Lord.
I
Oh
can
no,
do
it's
it.
only
You want me to do
it's
it?
only
I'll do it.
Oh, no,
it
we're-
only goes to here.
Sing it, Joey.
I thought, yeah, could
Up
you
the
sing
octave?
it?
I'm not
You
gonna
could do
sing
it
it.
with you. You've been practicing choral.
Oh, I've been doing caroling
Carol
for
stuff.
2 months.
Yeah.
No, I'm not gonna
So
sing it.
Good King Wenceslas. Let's
Oh.
go.
That's actually one of my favorite
Me
carols.
too.
Really?
Well, I like the imagery.
Yeah.
And it's kind of this. Dun, 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 dun,
Yeah.
dun,
No, it's
dun,
very
dun,
it's
dun,
very
dun.
cool. It's just it's wordy. It's giving me word troubles. But yeah.
That's funny.
I always call it Good King. What's his name?
Oh yeah.
Good King.
Absolutely.
What's his name?
Well, there's always contention as to how you pronounce his name. Anyway, a Player Nightmare
Okay.
from Scott. Good day to the douchery do crew. I was really hoping you were going to do that. I'm so thrilled.
Go ahead.
I fear that I am beginning to get a reputation as that guy. I am playing a character in a Pathfinder game that I have fallen in love with, but I am playing in a game with multitudes of players with a variety of alignments. I am playing an old gnome cleric of a good goddess who is all about redemption. The game started off well enough, however quickly things took a turn when one of the characters, Milo, was between portcullises, say that 5 times fast,
I know.
and vials of alchemist fire were released from the ceiling. The rest of the party got to the enemies who triggered the trap, and we subdued them in order to question them on the fortress we were infiltrating. As soon as Milo was released from the trap, he grabbed one of the alchemist fires and poured it down the throat of the subdued enemy.
Ah.
Obviously, this was a point of contention for my character, and I made my voice heard. I let the player controlling Milo know this was not acceptable, but I was willing to give him the opportunity to redeem himself. At the same time, I made it clear that there would be no 3-strike opportunity in keeping with my church's beliefs. Inside the same fortress, we found an evil artifact dagger that was used to kill an angel of my goddess. The angel was powerful enough that it would be unthinkable for a mortal to kill. The party decided to give this item to Milo, which was a big problem for my character. This eventually boiled over into a big enough problem that I offered to retire the character since it was not gelling with the rest of the party's ideas for the direction of the campaign. Things were complicated by another campaign that I was running as a first-time GM, added to the running for a group of min-maxers, ended with me throwing my hands up in the air in frustration as the party tore through every encounter. I was too green as a GM to realize that they were having fun, and I got mad that everything I said was being questioned. I take full responsibility for that game as I was running, falling apart.
But it didn't fall apart. You did. They were having fun.
Yeah. How does this tie into the other game? Well, a lot of overlap in players between the two games, and the guy playing Milo was one of the chief offenders of the second guessing in the game I was running. Everyone else thought I was looking at Milo's actions with a microscope as punishment for ruining my fun as a GM,
Oh.
which was not the case.
You sure? What does your
Yeah.
subconscious say about that,
I was
sir?
just going to say I thought that was what the first couple paragraphs were about. Okay.
So rather than rolling a new character for both myself and the person playing as Milo, we're given an ultimatum. Either we solve our out-of-game issue and come back to the original characters, or we were both kicked out of the game. Since there was no out-of-game issue to fix, and since my character was not going to allow this evil artifact to remain in the possession of someone who had shown his evil nature, I left. I tried to get them to have someone else hold onto the item, but when that was shot down, I felt I had no choice. I left the game for 6 months or so, but when the intelligent evil artifact finally warped Milo into a soulless husk, and he became an NPC, I was invited back into the group.
What? So they're playing by Blackleaf rules.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If your character leaves, you have to leave.
Yeah.
No new character for you.
I had already moved on to the other games with the player who had been playing Milo, and it was clear to everyone that the argument was strictly as an in-game disagreement between characters and not players.
So that's key. So he and Milo are still friends, and we're
Right.
playing in other games where they don't fight. Okay.
Even though Milo is a soulless min-maxer.
Right.
Right.
However, again, it did not take long before I had yet another confrontation with a different player at the table. But this time I was not alone. This time it was Nilo and his steadfast idea that there was no good or evil in the world, and everything is gray, and that was the issue. When Nilo started making deals with every big bad in the book and making promises on behalf of the group without consulting anyone ahead of time, or giving details of the arrangement after the fact, things became problematic. Often this would bog down into hours of debate, such as, is it really an evil action to rob and murder something if the book says they are an evil race in order to obtain an item for an aboleth in exchange for a slave? Is that evil? To my cleric and the rest of the majority of the table, the answer was pretty cut and dry, yes. So the player retired Nilo, but for now.
So Milo picked a new character called Nilo.
Nilo.
No, this is a different,
Okay,
different
okay.
player.
No, I know. That's what I was thinking too. I was like,
Or so he says.
yeah.
But before he left, he plotted a course that was for the soon-to-be NPC to destroy the sun, which, besides the obvious WTF, also happens to be a domain of my goddess. So he should not have been surprised when my second objective, after killing Milo, is to murder his old character before he can do that. Now tell me, oh, Leonardo DiCaprio's, which
That's
I
a
love.
good one. I
That's
like
a good
that.
one. Am I being unreasonable? P.S. Yes, I understand this is my side of the story, and others would tell it slightly differently, but it's the only side of the story I know. Sincerely, Scott, a.k.a. Brondo Fizzlepop, Cleric of Serena.
Okay, Brondo Fizzlepop is not a name a serious player would pick for their character.
I wasn't going to say it, but I was thinking it really loudly.
Brando Fizzlepop.
Well, he is a gnome. It's a gnome. It's a gnomish name.
I guess that's true.
That's
He's an old gnome,
That's
too.
pronounced gnome.
It's
I
not-
looked it up. I thought I looked N-O-M-E. No,
I could see a
came up.
gnome
And
having
it's
that
not
name.
Brondo, it's Brawando.
But as a cleric, like I could see like
But
a
you're gnome-
bard
you're
or maybe
gnome
like a
before
thief.
You're a gnome before you're a cleric.
I know, but when you're naming I don't know. When I'm naming a
when you
character,
have
I
all
take
your
the
little
character into
gnome
consideration.
babies, like, I could see somebody being a Fizzlepop. I could. That's like Fizzle Crank, right? That's a total gnome name.
Yeah.
Right? No? Am I right?
I think I would just ban gnomes.
Okay. Well,
No, I'm okay with gnomes. Kinder, I'm against.
Kender, yeah. Like
Kinder,
and a
so
Kender.
against Kinder.
Oh, those are the halflings that steal everything?
Yeah.
Okay. I never played an edition that had them.
I didn't either, but someone wanted to
I
bring them
haven't.
in from the Dragonlance books, and we're like, no.
They were a third edition thing?
I don't even remember which edition. I think they were
Dragonlance.
3.5.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dragonlance, I think 3.5.
They weren't
or
in 4. They
3.0.
weren't in 4. They're not in 5. I don't think they're in
No.
5, are they?
They're just more annoying halflings.
Basically.
they're not a
They're like, take
ton
a
of
halfling and
races
turn it up to 11.
in 5.
I'm going to
so-
be obnoxious, but it's a character trait, so you have to agree with it.
No.
No,
Well, I mean,
no, I don't.
the thing is, here's what bothers me. It sounds like he's getting upset about this stuff, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm thinking,
Personally and character.
your character
Yeah.
should be getting upset about this
Yeah.
stuff. You as a player should look at it as, this is an awesome opportunity
Yeah.
to create some inter-party conflict because of the fact that this guy's going around doing
Yep.
a bunch of evil shit. This guy's a totally out-of-control psychopath. I have to show him the way.
Right.
And there's so many opportunities for that player to just buy into what's happening. It's almost like not like saying no in an improvisational sense.
Kind of.
You know
I
what
mean,
not exactly, but it I mean, to totally yes and it would be to go, we need to do something about him. He's going astray, and his eternal soul is going to be damned to the icy cold of the opposite of whatever the sun god is, or whatever. And I can see where the players would buy into that. Maybe even the guy playing Milo would buy into that, right? He'd
Right.
be like, "Oh, cool, they're going to try to
Yeah.
save me." And depending on the maturity of the players at the table, but
I guess my issue, because clearly the... I'm losing your name. Brondo.
Yeah.
Scott. Because he has certain things that are clearly important to his character. Obviously, as a cleric, his goddess's domains are important. The angel that was killed by this dagger is important.
right.
Yeah.
And to have these things that are like literally like an affront to these things that your character holds very, very dear. I get wanting to do the yes and, but when you built this character, you have these certain like pillars, like these are important to me. These are things, like, these are the hills I'm going to die on.
Sure.
And to have a NPC, or not NPC, a PC kind of push you against that and have the party kind of rally around that or be okay with that, and you're the odd man out, I kind of understand the want to, like, okay, clearly I'm not in the same wavelength. This character I love, but you know what? Clearly he's not in the same game that you guys are wanting to play. I'm going to put him aside because it's not. Otherwise, we're going to spend every game arguing for 3 hours about what to do with this dagger or what to do with Milo.
Except he actually left the game. They didn't kick him, right? He actually left.
No, he chose to leave. Or no, it was.
I thought he was going to, and then he didn't.
It sounds like no, he did. He left and
6
then came
months.
back.
Oh, okay.
See, that reads to me, he got upset by what's going on, not his character got upset, because I mean, you could simply just say, "I'm going to make a different character."
Yeah, and I think it depends.
I mean, unless you're playing Black Leaf rules, it doesn't sound like they were playing Dark Dungeons, but unless you're playing that, I don't know a GM who won't say, "Yeah, if you want to retire your character, make a new one."
Absolutely, because like you, Stu, I think that really difficult, like pushing you up against core beliefs, is awesome.
It's gold.
Oh,
Right,
my
I
God.
love it. As a player, I love it.
No, the only time is if, like you said, if everybody at the table was annoyed, if for some reason it's the group or it's the game or, that they're not digging it, because otherwise that's amazing. Then I could see saying, hey, I don't want to water down, I don't want to dilute my character, why don't I just play something else?
Right.
But,
Exactly.
Because I've been in games like that before too, where I can tell people are mildly annoyed by my character choices.
Do you guys remember the movie Tootsie?
Yeah.
I'm familiar.
Is that's the movie with Dustin Hoffman?
Mm-hmm.
Right. And there's I watched it recently and I'd forgotten a lot about it, but there's a scene where he bursts into his manager's
You really
office.
need to get Netflix. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. Well, it's not like, but I'm not going to watch it. Like, it's like, oh yeah, Tootsie's on, what the hell? He bursts into his manager's office. And he's like, I was supposed to get this role. I was supposed to play Death of a Salesman. It's like, well, they wanted a name or whatever. And he goes into this whole spiel about, it's like, you were a tomato. You were. All they had to do was sit down. They went 2 days over budget because you didn't sit down. I'm a tomato. It's not I wouldn't sit down. You're a tomato. That's what I said. And he's so convinced. He's such a method actor that he had a really hard time letting go. And I think that's what we're dealing with here, which is sort of a method acting running right into plot constraints. And I'm of two minds about it because, you have a character and you want to have be convicted. And I remember this in the L5R game. At one point, they're like, we're going to go off to the Monk Island. And I'm like, all right.
I don't want to go to the Monk Island. I don't want to go to Death Island.
I don't want to go to Death Island.
It's called Death Island. You guys realize that, right? I looked it up. It's in Japanese. That's Death Island.
But I'm making a metaplot decision to go with you because otherwise,
right,
we're splitting the party. And I think,
but that wasn't a fundamental core belief of your character.
Well, but if you're a method actor, at some point, you run into constraints with the script. You run into constraints of the world. You run into, and maybe sometimes it's okay, like you said, to take a different tact, if nothing else, for the sake of the game.
Sure, absolutely, yeah.
This is not completely unlike, I guess, my character in Dead Rain.
Yes.
So.
Because your character in Dead Rain, what's your OOC?
A Reaper.
So you're like a badass. It's like I go out and I kill zombies and I kill a lot of them. That's what I do. I don't run away from them. I murder them.
Yeah.
Right.
It is the whole modus operandi.
And your character's built around it too.
Yeah, my character's totally built around that, and there's a backstory reason for it. But everyone else is a survivor pretty much. Although Rob's character is OCC.
Yeah.
Or OOC.
OOC.
OCD.
Is not a survivor,
Beast
but he's
master or something.
Hound master?
Something like that. I don't remember.
Yeah, he's a dog whisperer.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. He's got a dog who's, a better character than he is.
Yeah.
And a better person.
But there are times, and I think everybody has been fantastic at the table. I never feel like there are issues personally between me and players.
Oh, no.
Ever.
No.
I've never felt uncomfortable.
The last session, this last Sunday, it got pretty heated.
Oh, it was awesome.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
No, I loved it. Kimmy and I high-fived because, like, our characters were both arguing, but we were, like, chomping at the bit to do that. So, yeah, it was really good. But there are times I've approached Dave afterwards and said, if you want to give me any feedback, like you and he, I'm totally open to feedback. Because I don't want to also roadblock and stall the game so that it's like, you know, I can find some way around it for my character if it's not fun, if it's not interesting. But he's always said, no, totally cool.
Oh, yeah.
Here's the other thing that behavior can do, which is it enables you to be the center of attention all the time. So the GMs are spending an enormous amount of time on you and your conflicts with the other player than the rest of the table. So if nothing else as a player, if you're that person, it's like sometimes you just need to chill and maybe make a decision that isn't motivated by your character so that everybody else can have a good time.
Or maybe you decide, you know what, instead of my character, like right now, having a confrontation, like if you have a lot of confrontations and you've had the spotlight for, you know, the last 3 hours and 40 minutes of the 4-hour session, maybe your character's, my character's now quietly brooding, trying to figure out how I'm going to solve the situation. Because
that's perfect. When you're on stage, a perfectly good motivation is you need to go over there and get to the phone because it's ringing. It has nothing to do with whether or not your character knows how to talk or not. That's what's in the script. That's what you need to do. That's what the director said you needed to do. It's perfectly okay to sometimes do things that seem out of character simply because the game has to keep moving and you need to let other people play.
Yeah, Jen Human says, honestly, if I were a player in the Dead Rain game, I would so hate Ruby.
Really, I missed that somehow. Like I had what do they call it? Hysterical blindness. I didn't even see it. Yeah, but I would too.
And people say the same thing about Stork and Mac's character in the vampire game.
Yeah,
because they're both playing really cantankerous, hard to get along with Gangrel.
Yeah,
I understand now why there's only usually one Gangrel in the group. I get it now.
Because now there's two.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
who's gonna have dominance? Who's gonna take dominance?
Yep. Yeah, and I mean Ruby would walk away not because she'd be pissed off, but if it came down to this is really what that group wants, and she's just not mentally prepared to pack it all in, she would totally be like, "Yeah, you guys go do the thing you need to do."
Because it kind of sounds like the rest of the party's kind of looking for a Shangri-La.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
They're looking for a place where there's no zombies, where they can recreate the life that was. And you've totally embraced the life that is.
Exactly. Yeah. And that was right in my bio in the beginning, which was she just kind of shuffled into this and went, and this is the way it is now.
And I don't think there's any, as long as story is happening, it doesn't have to be the GM's story.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now, if it's just conflict, and it's just literally session after session of arguing, that's going to get tiring.
Yep.
But that's not what happens most of the time. Usually, someone relents.
Yeah.
Things go on, and then another crossroad happens, or another, a moral conundrum happens, and there's another conflict again. And maybe, I mean, as this player who's in the minority, maybe instead of trying to save Milo, go after another player. Go after another character. Find another character and see if you can convert them.
Yep.
And maybe talk to the player and say, hey, this is what I'm thinking about doing with my character. Because it's intrinsically more interesting if the party is split more evenly. At least it seems to me. Rather than one player versus everyone else, it's a couple players versus the other couple of players. And they can have their it's a more interesting conflict, at least to me. And then it doesn't seem like people are ganging up on one person, which is what I think kind of sounds like happened.
It does, and again, I think most of us have said it. Sometimes that depends on the table, like if people are just or how they interpret how you're approaching that.
Right, and then, but I mean, there's also people out there who are like, we're going to get through the GM's module, whatever that is, whether he made it himself or he bought it. Yeah. And we're trying to get through it, and we're trying to get all the treasure we can out of it, et cetera.
Yeah.
And that's what they're interested in, and that's fine. But the games that I enjoy running and playing in are not that. So
he clearly knows he has a problem because he says, "I'm turning into that guy."
Right.
He wants to know if he is that guy. Is he?
A little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit.
I think so. In spades, dude. You are.
Oh, I don't know about spades, because the fact he has the presence of mind to think that he is,
Yeah.
and it's a good step towards not being that. If you think to yourself, I think I might be that guy. And
Right.
if you're thinking that,
There's hope.
Yeah.
There's hope for you.
there's hope for you, but you probably are.
I think part of it too is knowing who you're playing with. Because I have a guy in my normal gaming group that our characters, for some reason, whatever game we play, whatever system, whatever story it is, our characters are always butting heads. We're great friends. We used to be roommates. Like, we get along really, really well. Just the way I want to play a character and the way he wants to play a character usually end up at odds.
Right.
But I know that going in, so you kind of have to adapt to your group and realize, okay, this is the environment I'm going in. If I'm going to play a game with this person, I know they're probably going to play this kind of character. And if you can't do that, if you can't play the kind of character you want to play in a game with the kind of character that your friend's going to play, that may not be a good match.
Sure. And also, you have to take into consideration the other people at the table.
Yep.
And are they going to be cool with you guys?
Yep.
I mean, they're in the last session, it was kind of a gang up on Gina's character because Steven's character wasn't there.
Yep.
Because and that's the same thing. Steven and Hosier Rob,
Yep.
they always end up, their
Yep.
characters always end up hating each other.
There's a lot of history
Always.
They're
Yes.
like grumpy old men.
They are.
They're
They're both
totally-
grumpy old men. You'd think they would just sit and complain about their aches and pains
And dude,
the
they're
pills
not
they
that
have to
old.
take.
They're like supposed to be like 53 or something.
That's
They're
not
not
that
even
old.
like.
That's fuckers.
No, I know, right? Assholes. They're just like, yeah, but it's true. And then Ruby will kind of try to, if she sees a chink in the armor of somebody sort of leaning in the direction that so she can kind of gravitate towards having an ally for a nanosecond.
Right.
So she'll try to do that.
Average Human says, as a GM, when my players get in an argument like that, I give their characters 20 minutes to sort it out. If they're still at it after that, it's ripe for a random encounter to interrupt them, and that's what I do.
Wandering damage.
Right,
yeah.
it's bullywugs.
No, that's an awesome idea because I think that we had a lot of character development. I felt like when we got to fight with each other and
Yes.
do a bunch of crap like that, we needed to do that. But I absolutely agree. Like, you don't want 45 minutes of a 3-hour game.
Yeah, but I don't want to punish them for role playing.
But when it's only productive role playing,
Yeah.
when it's just going in circles and nothing's getting answered, no one's doing anything.
Sometimes it's masturbatory.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not always, but sometimes it's totally like yeah.
We've all wanted to twist that knife.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the end of my euphemisms.
All right, Scott, thank you for the email. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Scott,
And email back, and
Cool.
as somebody who's taken a lot of flack for apparently playing assholes,
apparently.
I think you should try playing a nice
The
guy next
wizard
time.
went down the wrong.
Speaking of Dead Rain, the session 4, is that the next one coming up,
Yeah.
right?
No, 5 is coming up.
5's coming up,
Yep.
but 4's, we
Yep.
did 4. 4 should drop this week. This next coming week, like probably Tuesday or Wednesday.
Cool.
The story of dying 3 times. And by the way, Dead Rain is published by Palladium Books.
Yeah.
At palladiumbooks.com. Sponsor of this episode of Happy Jack's RPG Podcast.
Is that
We would
available?
like-
Can you actually buy that?
You can buy that. You can buy that. You can go to palladiumbooks.com and buy it. You can get an Art Director RPG. All fine e-tailers and game stores.
Awesome.
Support the show.
I like
Support.
game stores. I really do.
Game stores are awesome.
I bought a book because I wanted to have it. I like having them.
Did I tell you I went to a Warhammer store?
No.
Or a Games Workshop store.
Okay.
$300 later.
Oh.
You only bought one mini, didn't you?
No. So I'm trying to put 1,000 Suns Army together, and the guy's like, okay, well, but I'm not sure what I can use in it and what I can't. At the time, I had what did I have? Wow. I had one set. I think I had Rubric Marines, one squad of Rubric Marines, and the guy's like, well, there's the Scarab Cult Terminators, and you could just get some regular Chaos Marines, and you just kind of paint them blue. But they can, they can work together. Oh, you got to get Araman, and here's what's his name if you want to get him. And I'm like, no, that guy's like a $60 mini. I'll wait on him. I'll take Araman though. Araman's only $40. One mini.
Oh,
Mr. Creosote, it's only wafer thin. Oh, possibly.
I'm gonna throw up.
That's like a total wine and more purchase for me for con. It's like
And
45% of the hotel for the
I'm
weekend.
probably at Zangor's. I got Zangor's too, and I'm probably 60% done with painting them. Maybe.
Really?
I'm close. Everything's primered. I've got the Scarab Occult Marines and the Rubric Marines are done, and then I've got I have to figure out what color combo I want to do with Zangor's because I'm not really sure what to do with them yet.
What are we going to do, Stu? We're going to lose you as a GM. You're going to go off and do war games, and we're not going to have any game ready to run games.
No, what I want to do is I want to get what's his name?
Jim.
Jim.
Yeah.
Jim and
Mike?
Mike. Jim and Mike. What I was going to do is
Oh.
invite them over here,
Yeah.
clear the table off, put down some terrain, drop cameras down on
Yeah.
it, and get Zachary to play as well because Zachary wants to play as well, and then 2 of us can play Chaos, 2 of us can play Imperium because Zachary has his Ultramarines.
I would totally watch that.
Wouldn't that be
And
awesome?
seriously, I would totally watch that.
And Zach,
Are Ultramarines blue?
yes,
Of course they are. Why wouldn't they be? Because it's
Ultramarine.
It's Ultramarine.
I primered them Ultramarine blue.
That's awesome.
In fact, I did not realize that Ultramarine blue was not specifically made for Ultramarines. And I looked it up and I'm like, oh, that's an actual color.
It's an actual color.
Stu's just going to...
And then I look at it compared to the Ultramarines in the book, and I'm like, yeah, it's not actually the same color of blue.
They got age on them and stuff.
Yeah, don't worry about that. You got your badass blue.
And when the photograph, because you can't, unless it's color corrected, yeah, it's the same color.
And it's the dopey thing is, I have Ultramarines, which are blue, and Thousand Suns, which are blue.
But they're not Ultramarine. You went with Navy or Royal, right?
No, they have their own. I actually bought Thousand Suns blue for them. So they're all primered with the proper color.
The appropriate color.
too.
Wouldn't you?
My God, this.
I would, yeah.
Dude, they sell everything.
The person that runs this has got to have an island that he just lives on.
That's why they've got dozens or maybe hundreds of game workshop stores across the country.
And they have their own stores that just they're like marijuana. I would get the first one's
My
free.
Airman Mini is this big, and it's
Okay.
probably about 2 ounces of plastic,
Like
and it
that
was
one?
$40.
Oy.
Yeah.
Is that the one?
Oh,
No,
yeah,
no,
there
no,
was
it's
one
in
on
the-
the...
Oh.
That one's awesome.
That's heavy. That's heavier than I thought it was gonna be.
That's an actual metal Mini. That's
Oh,
that's my
Glitter Boy.
Glitter Boy.
Oh yeah.
The Rifskin.
No, your other guy is like...
He's big.
He's big.
He's big,
Yeah.
and he's on like a little disc of
Yeah.
Zeech or whatever it's called. All that. Anyway,
He's cool.
that's not RPGs.
I said you were going to get all
I'm gonna
tiny
move on now because
I
I'm
just
getting
have more time.
Shall we?
Yeah.
The story of dying 3 times in a single session in a long campaign from Nicholas in Stockholm.
Can I read through Dying 3 times?
Stockholm.
Go for it.
Cool. Hello, most prestigious of podcasters. Abdouche. I'd like to share the tale of when I died thrice in a single session while only forcing a single
Once
fight.
shall you die.
Thrice in a single session.
Will this wind be so mighty
That's the best
as
voice.
to lay low the mountains of the earth?
What is that?
It's Monty Python.
It's much is what it
It's-
I
is.
it's
remember that's
actually
the
like the-
most amazing, awesome.
It's like the very first scene that nobody ever sees or remembers. It's the old man. He's sitting on the bridge of
Wow.
doom or death. Carry on.
That was pretty amazing. That was too awesome. Our story begins in Lustria, basically South America and Warhammer, where our heroic settlers, I know, we're going to get a GURPS for Warhammer now, had ventured deep into the tropical forest and set on freeing an enslaved community of miners beneath a mountain chain. Who are these brave heroes? Our leader is an alcoholic gnome priest for the thief god Renald, followed by a pit fighter whose thirst for blood is only equal to that of gold. And then there was me, a druid on a quest of furthering the faith of the old gods into the new world. Or that was before a stray arrow caught his leg when hiding beneath a wagon. The subsequent infection forced me to create a new character. Ooh, that's sad.
Yeah, that's a little harsh. The druid couldn't heal himself? Wow.
Just for an
Yeah.
infection, like
Yeah.
But, okay.
That's sad. Okay. This new character would not be the party healer, left in the forest when he couldn't walk. Oh, they left him. She would be a mighty and self-reliant combatant. This wood elf, mightiest of all the races, was part of the freedom fighters that the party joined when attacking the slavers. Due to some unforeseen circumstances, roles, the roguish cleric did not make a good first impression on the freedom fighters, and that tension was something I enjoyed playing with. The fighter soon realized this intervened with his goal. Wait, the fighter...
This intervened.
Intervened with his goal of winning.
Yeah.
And sets into motion his most brilliant of plans. He marches straight to where he left the druid to die, hoping he could save him. After only a few days, he has yet again crossed the mountains and finds his brother-in-arms still alive. Jungle fevering beyond playability. After a remarkable trial of willpower, the druid manages to remind his friend of his dying request. It won't be relevant for the story, as it was ignored, and soon after the druid passed away.
You'd think that a druid in a rainforest would be like, this would be like
Right?
nirvana for them. I'm surrounded by the green. Everything, it's like, this can kill anybody but me. This is my zone. This is a rainforest.
Yep.
The green is so strong here that it kills everything except me.
Unless maybe he was from a temperate zone.
Well,
maybe he's from like a mountainous forest, and it's different plant life.
And they don't have orange frogs that can kill you in one bite.
He's like he's like an Arctic druid.
Yeah, why not? Desert druid?
Sure.
Urban druid? Could have been an urban druid.
Oh,
Exactly.
By the
Urban
way,
druid.
small tangent here. My son is doing a research project, and they have to pick an animal from a rainforest and do make like a little brochure on it. So he picked something's tapir, Tapir.
Oh, the tapir, yeah.
Holy shit!
Little nose.
No, there's nothing little about them. They weigh
Really?
between 300 and 500 pounds.
Yeah, they're
What
like a
is it?
pig. They're like size of
It
a
looks
pig.
like a pig and an anteater got together and then had gigantism.
It's got this prehensile nose, but it's basically a pig with this big, like,
And they're
wooden nose.
huge.
They're
It's
weird.
the largest land mammal in Central and South America.
Good eating.
I've never heard of that.
They're endangered or something like
Because
that.
they're good eating.
Because they're good eating. They also will charge and gore humans.
Oh.
Because they know
have
they're good eating.
tusks?
Right? Yes, they have tusks.
Oh.
And
We're like,
but their gestation period is 400 days.
So if you get eaten
And
by
they have
tapir,
one offspring at a time. They don't have multiple births. So if they're good eating, that's a problem.
That's because how long elephant gestation is super long too, right?
Yeah, I think that's multiple
22
years.
months or something like that.
but an elephant's like 2 stories tall. I mean,
These things are just like
This is a dense pig, though. It
big
sounds
pigs. Well, I mean, there are pigs that are probably bigger than this thing.
You can be a big
I
pig,
saw a
too.
blue ribbon pig
Oi.
at the county fair,
Thank you.
and it was huge. But yeah, they're crazy, and they charge people
What do they charge them?
Wow.
2 beds.
Lord.
Anyway,
Where were
Death
we?
one.
I've been learning about tapirs.
The party met up at the boat that is taking refugees down the river towards civilization. During a stop, a small child has run off and the elf joins the rescue party. What did her elven eyes see? Well, one tracked the young girl and the other was, as always, kept on the priest and the fighter, who kept acting strange. Maybe that's why she never saw the NPC sucker punching her in the back of the head for one of her racist remarks. I did say elves are the mightiest of races.
And how?
Yeah. Keep in mind that in Warhammer, if you strike first and hard, you will likely come out on top. That was Death 2. Stark, did you read yet?
No,
He is
it's
not.
fine.
You wanna finish?
No.
Just
You're
finish.
doing a fantastic job. It's going to be great.
There's no other emails though.
Yeah, finish it.
Okay.
Yeah.
That
I just tag teamed you. I learned about wrestling at the last con.
was
so
Death 2.
Tag.
Turns out one of the refugees was an apprentice runesmith. This dwarf explored the old world for his exotic craftsmanship before his enslavement. Foreshadowing should tell you that won't be relevant. It won't. But I thought it was cool and worth sharing, especially as he was not involved in the hours of politics that ensued after the imperial colony had to deal with the unexpected refugee crisis upon arriving. The pit fighter was elected mayor. Good for him. Oh, it's a very C-3PO thing where he's the golden god.
Right.
Word of a nearby village stricken by plague reached the settlement, and guess who the mayor elected his personal carrier when undertaken with his quest? A sturdy dwarf. Before reaching the village, the Fellowship encounters an enormous plague-bearing rat. The rat greets them, explaining how the village will surely die if not soon receiving the antidote. An antidote he could provide, granted those intruders would run a minor errand for him. Seeing through his lies, our dwarf cries out in defiance. This vermin, oldest foe known to dwarves, will not tempt and deceive him. He is no longer a slave and will prove his worth both to gods and men. He charges the monstrous mutant. His traveling companions did not seem to share this view and waited patiently while their host disposed of the minor inconvenience before continuing to bargain for the villagers' lives. That was Death 3. This campaign remains on hold. I expect it will remain so as the druid, priest, and fighter arrived in Lustria. Lustria is entirely different thing.
You get that from old hot dogs, right?
Yes.
I thought that was the street that the Desperate Housewives lived on.
The Listeria Lane?
Yeah.
Boom.
Arrived in Lustria. Together, some 10 sessions and all plot threads were tied to them as a group. That should also allude to the fact that this many PC's deaths were unusual, even in Warhammer. That said, I hope you guys make time for exploring Warhammer at some point. With the hype surrounding 4th edition and the optional rule set of Zweihanda, depending on what part of Germany you're from. Ein Zwei, it's two-hander, Zweihanda. Ja, so far back on, this is a good time to start.
Two-hander.
Ja, Zweihanda. Ein Zwei. And as this example may tell, the game can be played with any set of people as the setting is dark and deadly, and everyone is a douchebag. I'm curious to see what happens when the episode count catches up to 2017, but with my luck, I doubt you'll read it before the new year.
We did.
Take care.
Unless this email's 2 years old, then sorry.
Take care and game on and drink on. Niklas in Stockholm, Sweden.
Is this a new Swedish?
Finally to your forum.
I don't think so.
Finally at your forum.
We have a lot of
maybe
Swedes.
new.
We have a lot of
more
Swedes. Well, there's a huge Scandinavian contingent, and I posted something not too long ago about how Scandinavia is taking over the RPG world. And I even said it last time.
I think you mentioned it last, yeah.
Oh, for sure.
It's crazy. They have a lot of time with bleak midwinters, I guess, that they spend in their houses, and they can roleplay more than we can. I don't know what it is.
It's freaking Shangri-La there. We
awesome.
all know that. There's beautiful people and
White, snowy Shangri-La.
they're social.
Yeah, they're lying, sweetie.
And
Oh yeah, it snows. No, don't come here. Don't
socialism
come here.
works,
And you show up there and it's sunny and there's angels and everything's made out of popcorn and they're all like, oh shit, they showed up. Now they know our secret.
Yeah, but they got trolls.
They have trolls.
They
That's
do have
Norway.
trolls.
I'm sorry, that's a selling point. That's totally awesome. That's
Did you ever
awesome.
you watched Troll Hunter, right?
Oh, yeah, I've seen
On
Troll
our
Hunter.
recommendation.
Oh, yeah.
Such a great movie. And to be fair, that's Norway, and the Swedish contingent's gonna be mad because
Sorry.
same continent, just different.
Scandinavia.
Yeah.
It's
Why
wander
problem
back
make
and forth.
when you no problem have you
Trolls
don't
don't
want to make?
Trolls Without Borders.
Trolls Without
Did you
Borders.
start playing the song already?
No, I played
Oh.
Why Problem Make When You No Problem Have You Don't Want to
Yeah, I
Make.
finally threw out my little thing. It kept falling out. That's funny.
All right.
Hey, I have a question.
Yeah.
So I thought this week it would be, because you know how I was like, whatever about superheroes, and then all of a sudden I was like, superhero games are totally fun.
Mm-hmm.
And then I this week was thinking about, I don't remember what, but how supervillain games are cool. And we've talked about Rippers and what's the other Savage game that's the
Dark.
yeah, but we know what
It's
we're
not
talking
dark.
about.
It's something else.
No,
I don't know what you're talking about. What are you getting at here?
Superhero game in
man, it's I
Savage
can-
Worlds.
I can see it, but I'm somebody's.
Are you
gonna-
talking about the campaign where it's everybody the villains?
Yes.
Were
Yeah.
taking over.
Necessary Evil.
Necessary Evil. Yeah.
It's not dark. Yeah, it's necessary evil. Okay.
It's dark. It could be dark.
It is.
So if you didn't play that game,
Yes.
but you wanted to have a game where you played, it's basically like Suicide Squad, I think. What system would you look at? Or would you do Necessary Evil? Or would you do, I don't know, it's hard not to think about things like GURPS and stuff too.
I mean, I've played one superhero game, and we did it through Mutants and Masterminds, which is complicated.
Oh.
Character building is complicated because you have points, and you basically build powers from scratch. But once it's built, it's an easily run game. It's just character creation is a beast.
It is.
So I would probably do Mutants and Masterminds, though. I mean, because there you can basically build anything you want.
That's like Champions. Except character creation's worse.
Yeah.
I tried to make an armored character in Champions, and you started with PowerPoint and everything, and I fell down this rabbit hole, and it was like days and days
What
and
you
days
do
of
is you
figuring stuff
you
out.
build that shit using the basic rules book.
Wow.
You get
Okay.
the
Well, I
basic
was,
rules book.
but he's an armored character, so everything is you've got power points, you've got a power pool, then you've got like you're buying each point, and then you're
It's
distributing
just a
power from
it's
the
just
pool.
a inaccessible focus because
Right,
he's wearing it.
but okay. Anyway, it got nuts.
Everything that the suit can do just has the inaccessible focus thing applied to it.
Yes, but then each one
There is some math.
yes, but then each power can draw certain points from your power pool.
Oh, you had variable power pool.
Yeah,
Variable power pools for the win.
yeah.
Yeah.
Kimmy would say Wild Talents, but having never
Sure.
really
And
played
that
Wild
is
Talents,
That's valid.
it's a really valid point. I don't know why you're shying away from Savage Worlds. What's the deal there, Gina? The hell?
Oh no, I'm not. I'm not. I'm just wondering if there's. I don't know. Maybe I want to make it harder on myself. I don't know. Because I'm like, what could you do? What system could you do that you wouldn't really think would be the system to? And I was like, oh, you could reskin Blades in the Dark, and you could. And then I started doing that sort of thing. Because yeah, you could totally do supers in Savage Worlds because Savage is totally fun.
It's
or necessary evil.
It's not broken. It's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
I think, and everybody complains about, well, a bolt's a bolt is a bolt. I'm like,
I think the reason I was
is.
straying away from that though is I'm in my head
You want to try something new?
gritty game.
Oh, you want to? Oh,
Like this is Dark Knight. This isn't like this
that-
isn't.
especially if you're playing
Yeah.
villains, champions,
Yeah.
hero.
See, that would be
It'd
that'd
kill.
be
It'd
cool.
kill.
yeah, no, well, would you? Well,
They all have killing attacks.
yeah.
You're fighting cops or
If you want gritty, go with GURPS. Because there is a level of fear involved with GURPS.
Yeah.
Just it's built into the system.
Hero too.
But I think
I
Savage
was trying
as
to
well.
think of something less like
You could have Savage with no bennies.
hefty.
yeah, you could do Savage World with no bennies.
That's true. It still
Then
feels
it's scary as hell.
It is, but it still feels pulpy to me. Which
Yeah, but that's superheroes, though, right?
Until you reach for a benny to soak a wound.
it's some superheroes. It's not the Crow. It's not.
Oh, but
you
yeah,
know.
it is.
But that's flavor. Like that's
Yeah.
reflavoring things.
Yeah, but the mechanics
system
High five.
System informs flavor.
Yes.
And the crow can't
If
be
it's
killed,
good.
so it's not really a problem.
It's hard. It's hard to. I mean, it's not easy to kill people and kill characters in
Savage
Savage
Worlds.
Worlds. And you want a game where you can kill people.
Uh huh.
You want death to be
Yeah,
a real
They
possibility.
do it in Traveler.
that's true. I was trying to see if anybody said anything, but maybe not.
You'd need to make some rules expansions for Traveler to have superheroes. They make them all psionists.
Oh yeah,
They're psionic rules.
different flavors like imbartable.
Oh, yeah, I have to say,
Mission
there is
Impossible.
magic in Traveler. I don't know why he told me to say that the last time, but maybe he means that Traveler's magic. I don't know.
Master Vidar says that supers were broken in GURPS. Did they fix it in fourth? Yeah, I've read through it. The original supers supplement, which I think came out for second edition, was horribly broken. They basically took all the design concepts for GURPS and threw them out the window.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was terrible.
Well, here's the thing about supers is that you can build a breaky super
that's the old one.
easy. And well, in any system, I can build a speedster, or I can build a Galactus or an Iron Man, and it's going to completely overpower your Daredevil.
Let me say, I don't know if it was broken. I don't think we ever ran it to know that for certain. But all of the design concepts about interoperability between GURPS campaigns was thrown out of the window because you had a when you bought your strength stat in GURPS, it cost you 10 points to have an 11, 20 points to have a 20, 30 points to have a 30, 45 points to have a 40, 60 points to have a 15. So it costs you more. It's like a, what do they call that? Not logarithmic. Is it logarithmic scale?
I I don't know.
Yeah, it'd be a logarithm because it's exponential.
Exponential. That's
Oh,
it's
okay.
it's sort of it's exponential to a certain point,
Okay.
and then it's like for every level after that, you have to spend, I don't remember what it was, 150 points or something, or for next level up for strength, right? When you got to a certain point.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
In the original group Supers, if I recall correctly, once you
Okay.
bought 18 points in strength, every point after that cost 1 point.
Oh,
In which version was this?
The original
Whoa.
Supers, I think it was second edition.
That's
It
banana
may have been
sandwich.
even before then. It was dumb, and it's like because the problem that GURPS had was you can build someone who shoots blasts out of their eyeballs, or
Yeah.
you can build someone who is resilient and is super armored, or you can build someone who's fast. But to build someone who's super strong, like Superman strong, requires
Everything.
thousands of
Yeah.
character points.
It's in GURPS now, though. Like, I don't know about Supers, but that's like a 500 point character, right? In 4,
Superman?
Superman.
No way.
I swear. I
don't-
thought.
I don't think so.
And Dex, because in 4, Dex and Int are your expensive stats, right? Those are the 20 point. Like every time you bump, it's 20
if it's long as they
versus
made a
strength
character, I don't
is
remember. I think
10.
so.
Yeah.
I think so.
Because Superman can do everything. He is the most expensive things to buy. He can run super fast. He's got laser blasts. He can fly.
Maybe it's like Batman
He can-
is
Yeah,
500.
he's invulnerable. He can, I mean, it's the problem. He's the top end of that scale. There is really no other one to
No.
measure up against.
Well, I mean,
even a character like Iron Man, who's completely modifiable.
Yeah.
You can basically put a bunch of points into a power pool, and then he just adds a laser blast.
we
for
don't
that
have.
point.
Well,
In GURPS.
well, I mean, but that's not a that wouldn't be a super. That wouldn't be a super's character. That's a dude with a lot of money.
Yeah, because
like
that's
Batman,
cyber. Yeah.
Batman, you can build Batman on a 200 point
Yeah.
character. Just go out and steal a lot of money and then
Gadgets.
buy everything you need.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well,
Because they don't have. I mean, although I think in the Powers book, they have rules in there now. I think there's rules in there for buying equipment with character points. I believe.
in Hero, that's
Okay.
They
the
did
way
it kind of. I think they
Really?
did it kind of the same way Champions did, where you have a thing, and if it's an object that can be taken away, but it has a certain power, the power has a point cost, and then it's modified down because it's stealable. Basically, the same thing with an obtainable, obvious focus.
I remember playing
Oh,
Champions back in the day, and if you were building a gizmologist or a gadgeteer or whatever,
Yeah.
they could do anything, but you had to buy it with experience points, right?
Right.
And then,
Okay.
as opposed to a lot of other people, if you were on the strength track, you could only really get things from the strength track section.
Right.
But that was the cool thing about a gadgeteer is they could pretty much add anything. Oh, I want a laser blast. Oh, I want flight. Oh, I want to hit things. I want armor. I
Right.
want to. So
That's
they could
that's the
always,
magic of your variable power pool.
Yes, exactly.
well, that's kind of the great thing about being masterminds is that you build the powers from scratch. So you can have a psionic who has a psionic blast, and you can have an Iron Man who has a photon blast. It's the same power in the book. It costs the same amount of points. It's just you're flavoring it differently. But for example, if you're building Iron Man, you would get like some points back because you need the suit to do it.
You can't do it outside of this.
Exactly.
Right.
So you
Yeah.
have to. It's a drawback.
It's a yeah.
Yeah.
What's your superpower again? I'm rich.
Billionaire
That's
playboy
totally what that is.
philanthropist.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. That's totally what that is.
I'm waiting for them to have a superhero based on someone who's like a super wealthy nerd.
Like Reed Richards.
I don't know who Reed Richards is.
Mr. Fantastic.
Mr. Fantastic.
Who's
he-
Fantastic
has he
Yeah.
Four.
been-
But he's a science. He's not a nerd. He's a scientist.
He's a
There's
scientist.
a difference.
Yeah.
Peter Parker.
No.
Maybe like
Well,
Spider-Man
But he's
Homecoming
not
Peter
rich.
Parker.
He's not
No.
rich.
He's not rich. But
A
if-
rich nerd.
I'm trying to think
Bill
of.
Gates. Someone like Bill Gates.
I don't know. Doctor Strange is like rich.
But he's
Science
a
nerd.
douchebag asshole too. Right?
He is.
yeah.
That you didn't say they couldn't be.
Well, that's true. That's
No, do you mean? Are you
But
saying
yeah.
nerd but mean geek? Like someone who's super geeky, like super
Oh,
into.
no.
Okay, no, I thought a geek is someone who
Yeah, no, it's
eats,
kinda true.
crazy shit.
Well, yes, that is
Wait,
the
what?
original term for geek. For like a
Oh,
geek is
yeah.
a sideshow.
Like eats light
yeah.
bulbs.
Yeah.
right?
One
Yeah.
of us. One of us.
Yeah.
Yeah. Freak show. Freaks. Was that was
Yeah.
Todd Browning?
Never saw it.
I'm with you.
I'm looking at you. You
I'm
know
picking up-
everything.
I'm picking up what you're putting
Thank
down.
you.
Yeah, I
Thank
got you. I got
Thank
you.
Try not
Thank
to
you.
cross talk.
All right.
Interesting.
That's all I got.
Cool.
That's it. Thank you again to Palladium
Yes.
Books
Yep.
for sponsoring this episode. And we've got our fourth session will drop this week. Fifth session we're playing tomorrow.
Yeah. 2 days. 2 days.
Oh, it's Friday. That's right.
Yeah.
We're playing on Sunday, 4 p.m. Pacific
I
time.
totally thought it was Saturday too. I'm gonna get in the zone.
4 p.m. Pacific time on Saturday.
Sunday.
Happy
Sunday.
Jacks- Sunday.
Sunday.
HappyJacks.org/live.
Yeah.
And we'll be there, and you should be too.
And is there a game on Monday?
Yeah.
And a game on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Riffs and Razor Ridge.
Yeah.
Kimmy
Yeah.
has created a remarkable schedule that she's been
Yeah.
updating
And we'll be
frantically.
tossing that up.
If you go to Happy Jacks,
Yeah.
.org/schedule, you will find it.
or just happyjacks.org,
Indeed.
and it's if you scroll down, if you take the time to scroll down once or twice, the schedule will roll by.
I believe it's over there on the sidebar.
Yep.
Yeah.
Down,
Yes.
down a little bit.
Yes,
Past
it
all of the
is.
ads. Thank you very much for joining us.
Yep. Please watch our actual plays and then chime in. And if you're a Amazon Prime member, subscribe.
Subscribe.
You can subscribe. You got one subscription for free, and if you subscribed and haven't updated it, you can do it again. Please subscribe, because the more you subscribe, the further up on there we go. The more that they like us.
Yeah.
And it's a whole it's a whole feedback
It's just
loop.
super awesome.
Come on.
Yeah! We're listeners of
Thank you for joining us for season 20, episode 12 of Happy Jacks RPG Podcast. My name is Stu.
My name is Gina.
I'm Joey.
I'm Stork.
And we'll see you on Sunday for Dead Rain, and then on Monday, and then on Wednesday, and then next Friday, and we'll see you then.
Yeah.
That's it. Thank you very much. We'll leave you with a song.
From Michigan to Australia and maybe East Timor, be it red, so exalted, girls or dungeons and dragons, hero, pathfinder, fate or savage wild, evil plans will be usurping, though we could do with less burping. Happy Jack's podcast will be douchebags all.
I have often heard that from me father and me mother that going to a wedding is the making of another. Well, if that be so, it'll go down a bit. Oh, it's fine providence, oh, to send me to a wedding. And it's, oh dear me, how would it be if I died an old maid in the garret? Now there's my sister Jean, she's not handsome or good looking, scarcely 16, and the fella she was courting, now she's 24, it's a son and a daughter, here am I, 44, and I've never had an offer, and it's, oh dear me, how would it be if I died an old maid in the garret? I can cook and I can sew, I can keep a house right tidy, rise up in the morning and get the breakfast ready, but there's nothing in this wide world that make me heart so cheery as a wee fat man who would call me his own dearie. And it's, oh dear me, how would it be if I died an old maid in the garret? Come landsman, come kinsman, come tinker or come tailor, come fiddler or come dancer, plowman or come sailor, come rich man, come poor man, come fool or come witty, come any man at all who would marry me for pity. And it's, oh dear me, how would it be if I died an old maid in the garret? Oh, now I'm away from home, for there's nobody feeding, there's nobody feeding the poor and he's bleeding. And I'm away home to the old weedy garret. If I can't get a man, then I'll surely get a carrot. And it's, oh dear me, how would it be if I died an old maid in the garret? And it's, oh dear me, how would it be if I died an old maid in the garret? Woo!
The preceding program has been a presentation of the Angry Folk Media Empire.